Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Ad Project Podcast. Today, I am really excited to have Matt join me on the podcast again. This is Joe, by the way. Matt, it's good to have you back.
It's good to be back. It's been a while.
Yeah, it is.
A year? Yeah.
Yeah. So, how you doing?
Good. I was up early. I was out in the boat, fished before work, so it's a
Oh,
great
you
day.
were out fishing today?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you catch anything?
It was slow.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's awesome. The joys of being in northern Wisconsin/Minnesota.
That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is fun. It's been a while since we've done this. I know you're pumped too.
Incredibly, yeah.
For those who listen, sometimes I have to drag Matt onto the podcast.
This isn't my forte.
But he loves talking.
But it's going to be great content. You guys are going to love it.
You are going to love it. Yeah. So today, what we wanted to talk through is different KPIs when you're looking at your advertising. Kind of what's the key things that I should judge performance on based on my product, based off of where I'm at in the funnel. When we got going and we were originally focused on just like sponsored products, you could go right to like ACOS, ROAS, just focus on like that single purchase, everything. But the space has really expanded. Our viewpoints have really expanded. Once you go further up the funnel, you definitely can't just look at that. So we wanted to break down like, all right, maybe start at like different ad types. What's the KPIs that when you're looking through accounts, you're like, okay, here's what I'm focusing on in these areas. How does it change based off of product mix? And then as we start going up the funnel, how do we change our perspective there? So I don't know. I don't know what the best way is to start here. We could start with some example products, or do you want to start with certain ad types? Where do you want to go?
I think we should start at the bottom of the funnel.
Okay.
These are going to be the metrics that are probably most familiar to our audience, conversion-oriented metrics. If you want to break it out by category or type of product, that'd be good.
Yeah. So let's start with a product that higher price point, but typically single purchase. They're not coming back and repeat purchasing it. So maybe a large furniture item, and it doesn't have like many cross purchase opportunities. So just kind of that single purchase, high price item.
Yeah. So if we're starting at the bottom of the funnel, pretty much regardless of product type, I'm going to be looking at the same set of metrics. The benchmark for what's successful or not may change a little bit, but still the same overarching metrics. For a high priced item, like an expensive sofa, I'm going to be a little bit more focused on my return on ad spend than anything, including the metrics that lead into that, though they're important, like they make up ROAS. That would be your product price point, conversion rate, and cost per click.
Mm-hmm.
With really high price point items, your conversion rate is going to be inherently lower. There's a longer consideration period. There's more price sensitivity. So you could be looking at sub 1% for something that costs a decent amount of money, right?
For sure.
So 100 plus clicks between orders. It takes a while to build a material amount of data. ROAS is great because the key factors outside of price point, which you control, factors in both conversion rate and CPC into it. So overarching conversion rate for a product, how much traffic can I drive, how many detail page views can I drive, that comes back to your CPC.
Yep.
What's value added, but what closes people. Typically longer tail, more specific keywords when you get up into the higher price point range are going to be higher CPC, but the conversion rate offsets that. ROAS factors all of that in.
Yep.
ACOS, ROAS, yeah.
Yeah. So the nice thing with like one-time purchase products is it's a little bit easier to analyze overall, because really I'm looking at the profitability for each sale.
Yeah.
And I don't have to incorporate as much into like lifetime value or brand loyalty or different things like that, because for a certain subset of products, they're typically just going to purchase that one product from you and then they're done.
Yeah.
There's always like, as a business owner, we should always be looking at how can we maximize that customer lifetime value, because that's where a lot of the profits can lie. But say it is a baby crib and that's the only product I have and it's a higher price point and I'm just going to buy it once. You can just look at ROAS, and then when you're trying to figure out how do I expand either my targeting or going further up the funnel, then you can just strictly usually look at ROAS overall, factor in some tacos. Like, how's tacos factor into this equation?
Yeah, tacos is an amazing measure of incrementality, especially. I'm happy you brought that up. Like starting with ROAS for something that doesn't have repeat purchase potential probably isn't like the sexiest podcast hook, you know? The first metric we talk about is the metric that everybody cares about and is used universally. Tacos is incredibly important. It tells you more about incrementality. Something can have a poor ROAS, but potentially be better in terms of tacos. So the best comparison is probably branded terms versus category terms. If we're talking bottom of the funnel, a lot of branded searches are going to lead to a sale, whether you pay for that sale via your PPC or whether it comes organically. They're brand familiar. They're keying your brand name into Amazon. They have purchase intent. So it's less incremental than a category term, a brand agnostic term, or like a competitor brands. Those are somebody that's actively shopping with intent for your competitor.
Sure.
They inherently have more incremental value for your business. And oftentimes conversion rate is going to be lower, nearly universally lower. ROAS is going to be lower as well because of that. ACoS is going to be higher.
Yeah.
But a lot of those branded terms, they're going to convert organically,
Sure.
and it may not actually add much to your business. So it has a great ROAS, but it's not going to do anything to help your tacos. If you're driving these incremental sales, you're using your ads as leverage, as you should. You should see favorable tacos. If I could spend $1 on branded or $1 on category, category is going to have the largest impact to your business, even though ROAS may be less favorable.
Yeah. So I like how we're structuring this, even though we're starting with the least sexy part of it, because we'll be working our way up. And so while we said, yep, ROAS could be a good measure for that one-time purchase, even that you have to take into the nuances like you're talking about. And so if I'm targeting branded searches, I could get a really good ROAS, and I usually will. But is that ad click truly driving that sale? Or would they purchase from me anyway? So if you've been listening to us before, we've always focused on incrementality. And so that's where Matt's saying, like, we may focus on some lower ROAS targets, say if they're more like category keyword targeted, because those ads specifically would drive sales that wouldn't have occurred without that ad. Whereas with branded, I might have a great ROAS, but at the same time, did that ad really help drive the sale? Maybe, because it might have kicked off my competitors from the top. But at the same time, it might have just cannibalized an organic sale I would have had anyways. And so it didn't drive that incremental revenue. So even with the base, like I only have a single product and I'm trying to sell it, just looking at ROAS itself, you have to take into account other items like the keywords that you're targeting.
Yeah. I mean, you may hear that and think like, why would I invest in branded terms? Yeah, they've got a good ROAS, but they could purchase organically. They could.
Sure.
A competitor takes that slot, like you may lose that business. So it's a risk reward situation. I wouldn't invest 100% in category necessarily, but and it's all dependent on ROAS and cost efficiency and all the curves.
Yep. All the fun tests you can do there.
Yeah.
So as we change our product a bit, now let's expand to a product that has higher lifetime value. And it can have higher lifetime value from repeat purchases. So it's a consumable, it's a supplement, it's a CPG, it's a food item, it's a subscription purchase where I utilize the items and then I had to come back and purchase again. Or I can get cross purchases. So I've got a really strong brand. I sell baby products and I have the crib, but now I have all these accessories that can go along with it. All these items, it's not just necessarily that first purchase. It's all the subsequent purchases that can come after. So how does that change the game? How does that change the metrics that you're focused on?
I mean, it changes everything, right? Even brands that sell durable goods, your baby goods company is a perfect example. Somebody that sells a crib and that's their hero product, does a ton of revenue on Amazon. Like if you have a crib mattress, matching sheets, whatever, almost universally the lifetime value is going to be a decent margin higher than what the initial purchase price of that hero product is. And when there is that repeat purchase potential, especially when we start getting into CPG, supplements, anything with repeat purchase potential of the same ASIN, is when new to brand ROAS starts to really matter. You get that first sale, people typically stay loyal. They may cross shop your other listing, complementary products. But getting them in the door is the most important thing, whether it's through a subscribe and save subscription, which is obviously the best, or through just the overall product brand affinity that they gain by making that first purchase. I bought this brand. I trust this brand. Getting somebody in the door is the most important thing. You run AMC queries to calculate lifetime value, the LTV of your products, and it'll quickly show that the value of getting a new to brand customer in, the future revenue from that, once they're familiar with your brand, with your product, can be massive.
Sure.
And so that changes all of your benchmarks. Like if you're setting an ACoS target or a ROAS goal, you should always use LTV to support that metric. The value of a new to brand customer is very high. You should measure new to brand metrics.
Yeah. So walk through what's the difference between just ROAS and new to brand ROAS? Like how are you measuring the two?
Yeah. So the calculation for ROAS is simply ad sales over ad spend. The calculation for new to brand ROAS is new to brand ad sales divided by ad spend, overall ad spend.
Sure.
What does it cost to get a new to brand customer in the door?
Yep.
And that factors in the ratio of new to brand versus repeat customers.
Yeah.
As well.
So new to brand ROAS excludes anybody who's previously purchased because they're coming back. And so I'm just getting my new to brand sales.
Correct. It excludes it from the sales side. It doesn't exclude it from the spend side.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yep. So I just take my new to brand sales divided by my total spend. And that's going to give me a better metric on my key goal is to drive new to brand customers because they're going to drive the higher lifetime value because they're going to keep coming back and they're going to purchase again and again and again. Whereas I don't want to waste as much of my advertising spend on those who are already familiar with the brand because they're already coming back to purchase. And again, are we taking credit for sales that would have reoccurred again?
Yeah.
And so this is why especially when we have products with the high lifetime value, really focusing more on the new to brand side because that's the key thing that we're trying to grow our overall customer base. We don't want to just sit there and take credits in terms of ROAS for customers that we already have brand loyalty. And so the majority of our focus is in driving new to brand customers and trying to grow that subscriber base as a whole.
Yeah, exactly. And a key metric too to look at in addition to new to brand ROAS, new to brand cost per acquisition, similar thread. It just doesn't take your CPC into account.
Yeah.
But percent of orders new to brand is huge. Just so you know, like, is this campaign, the keywords, the product targets, or if we're talking DSP, the audiences, is this reaching an intended audience of new to brand shoppers? If that's something that your business values, that's valuable to your business.
Yep. Yeah. So I love the new to brand customer, the cost per acquisition, or CAC, the customer acquisition cost, which is total cost to bring a new customer into the brand. And then I can compare that to my lifetime value, take into account all my other margin items. I can figure out the profitability on each new to brand customer that I'm driving.
Yeah.
And hopefully as we go and we fine tune the campaigns and we find the right customer journeys that's driving more new to brand customers, we can bring that cost down. At the same time, there's the other side of the equation where you try to increase lifetime value. And that's where repurchase campaigns can come in. That's where cross-purchase or cross-promo campaigns can come in. And so if you can maximize the lifetime value while trying to reduce the overall cost to acquire new customers, that's where you can really build momentum overall for those brands that have repeat purchases.
Yeah. And brands with repeat purchases potential too, when we're talking like bottom of funnel, like one of the key things that I think gets overlooked because it's more niche down, DSP specific, like the ability to layer in audience targeting and stuff like that, where I'd maybe get away from new to brand a little bit, even for a very high LTV, high repeat purchase potential product, would be with repurchasing strategies. Since you mentioned them, like, yes, repeat purchase strategies could cannibalize organic sales. Like they've already bought from the brand before. In certain situations, it's a very worthwhile strategy to utilize. Key thing being, if you're targeting somebody that's bought before, are they a one-time purchaser? Let's cement their LTV by getting to make that second purchase. That's a more incremental audience versus a multi-purchaser who I don't really care about targeting unless they haven't bought in a very long time. So that's another thing that you can do with Amazon DSP is set a look back window via audience exclusions. Somebody that's bought in the last 180 days but hasn't bought in the last 150 days. We're reaching for something that's maybe bought every 60, 30 to 90 days, right? You're reaching somebody that's lapsed or dormant. They haven't bought in a long time. We know they're a potential customer because they are a customer. So let's get them back in the purchase cycle and let's get those repeat orders going. And then finally, like, I want to target repeat purchasers, even brands with like low repeat purchase intervals, time between orders, if they're shopping competitors. And that's another really cool tactic that we like to utilize is people that have bought from our brand, even if it's multiple times, but have looked at a competitor listing in the last 7 days, 10 days. Like they were brand loyal, they keyed in a generic search or have shopped your competitor for some reason. I want to preserve that market share. I don't want to lose that to my competitor. I want to reach them.
Yeah. And so a couple key things that, and if you've listened to the podcast before, you've heard this from us too. Getting that first customer on board is going to be the most expensive. And trying to keep them loyal is typically going to be a lot less expensive. And so when we're building a brand and when we're looking at this and we're really trying to drive overall profitability, long-term sustainability of the business, it's trying to find like, okay, what are my hero products? But then how can I drive repeat purchases or how can I drive cross purchases from them? Because now once I've introduced them to the brand, introducing them to other products for the brand is going to be a lot easier. Driving repeat purchases is going to be a lot easier. And so that's where when we're looking at these different brands and we continually see the most successful ones come through, they're driving these repeat purchases, they're driving this brand loyalty, they're driving multiple different product buys. Because it is expensive to get a new to brand customer. So if you can get that first one in the door, now you can use all these fun tactics like driving repeat purchases, finding somebody who bought from you but now is looking around at competitors. Like, let's remind them like, hey, come back to us. You already know us. And then just trying to drive cross purchases, like tons of fun stuff that you can do there. Totally. Yeah. And then there's other analysis that you love to do too. Like say if we've got a big mix of different products, say they're different like variations, so different quantity of like, say it's like supplements. So a different quantity of supplements. There's a smaller bottle, there's a bigger one. Which one do we actually introduce people to the brand for? And so there's some different metrics that you use there to figure out what's going to be the ideal product to bring people into the mix.
Yeah, this is where it gets fun, complex. I guess it doesn't have to be too complex. Yeah, we run new to brand gateway analysis where we measure upfront new to brand customer acquisition costs. That's a fairly universal metric, right? What does it cost to get somebody to buy this product, but testing it against all other comparable products in a brand's lineup?
Yeah.
So if you have variations, whether it's color, size, quantity, like typically the lowest price offering is going to be the best for new to brand acquisition. People aren't willing to spend necessarily $100 on a 3-pack of a certain supplements that's unknown to them. Like they want to know if it works for them or give it a shot, right? So the lower quantities, lower price point products tend to sell better upfront, have a lower new to brand acquisition cost, despite the revenue gained being lower from that upfront sale. But that's a trade-off that you measure, right? And that all factors into new to brand ROAS and new to brand CAC. But where it gets really interesting is you can run more in-depth analysis through AMC as well, where let's say we have 2 substitute products, like a couple sheet sets for our baby crib, like crib sheets.
Sure.
You have like a high-end 1200 thread count, like high quality product, and then you have a lower price offering. And intuition tells you that for somebody that's new to brand, they're more price sensitive. They don't know you're offering your quality, so on and so forth. So and the metrics may show that the lower price offering has a better new to brand ROAS or new to brand cost per acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
But what we can do is look at customer lifetime value, LTV, and compare that to new to brand customer acquisition costs. And that helps show the stickiness of customers based on product quality too. So maybe that lower quality, lower price sheet set has upfront like new to brand ROAS favorability, right? But it's a lower quality product, and when somebody buys something and it's packaged right and it feels good, it looks good, like they're more likely to buy from that brand. That builds brand affinity. This company builds good products. They make good products. I trust them, and I want to see what else is from their lineup. And so something that we often see is even higher priced products that maybe have worse upfront, like single conversion metrics, even for new to brand. The lifetime value can be a lot stronger if it does what the customer wants it to do, or it's a higher quality alternative.
Yeah. And so a high level, what we're doing here is we're looking at each individual product. We say, if they first buy this product, what's their lifetime value? So in your example, the more expensive, higher quality sheet set, let's say that once they buy that, the average customer comes back and spends another $1,000 with the brand. With the lower quality sheet set, let's say on average, the customer comes back and spends another $500. Well, what that tells us is that even if it costs more to get people to buy the more expensive sheet set, we know once they do that, then they're typically going to spend quite a bit more. And so we can take the ratio of customer acquisition costs for each of those individual products, compare them to lifetime value, and we can figure out what the best gateway product is based off of all those metrics. And so this is another standard analysis that we're doing all the time too. And we can get a lot deeper, but these are the type of things that you can look at as a brand where I have a limited amount of advertising spend. And so how do I maximize the impact of that? One is looking at the products that you're really pushing and advertising for and making sure that those are the ones that are going to drive the highest lifetime value overall. And then you build a whole campaign around that.
Yeah, exactly. And if the upfront metrics, I guess taking a step back, sometimes the metrics are astonishing, right? Like you could run at a 1x ROAS for that high quality sheet set. And the lower price could be 2.5, like a substantial difference between the two.
Sure.
But then you run the LTV for first purchase being the high quality product, the LTV analysis, and it's considerably more profitable, even though you're taking a little haircut on your PPC or your advertising spend upfront.
What's really fun is when we find these nuggets where it's like, man, we have to push this product. I know ROAS looks really bad for this initial purchase. So for this high-end sheet set, our ROAS is 0.5. Like we're losing money on that first purchase, but once they buy that, they're buying the full crib and everything else like that, and they're spending another $1,000. It's finding fun instances like that, where when you look at the bigger picture, you can double down and you can just be printing money by really focusing on the right areas for the business.
What's so cool too is it transcends just advertising performance too. Like looking at LTV and stuff like that factors in organic. But like what we've geared this discussion around is like, what product should I advertise? That affects overall business decisions. Like when you find nuggets like that, it can affect pricing decisions. Like maybe this is a loss leader. It's something that we use to get people in the door. We reduce price to improve conversion rate. And yeah, we take a loss potentially on some of those new to brand customers. But the value that it creates to our overarching business can be multiples higher in the future, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is where it gets a lot of fun. That's why we love talking this different strategy. So again, to just summarize, like if you've got a product that's typically a single purchase, you don't have others that you're typically selling or cross-selling, like ROAS can be a good metric, but you still got to dig in deeper and figure out where you're really spending your budget. If it's going all to branded versus non-branded, just remember you could be in some organic say or some sales that would have happened anyways. And so you always got to focus on the incrementality side. If you get to the point where now you've got the repeat purchases, you've got the cross purchases, you've got the strong brand, that's really where getting into lifetime value, cost per acquisition, new to brand, really means a lot. And if you have lots of different like gateway intro products, getting into like what's the best return overall when they first buy one of these products versus the other, that's where it gets a lot of fun too. And then we could talk forever about all the different other metrics. This is just scratching the surface on the high level metrics.
Yeah, and how to action them, you know, that's another hour. But
Yeah, yeah, and we haven't even really got to like, going far up the funnel all the way down, how you measure like the full funnel and what should we care about for upper funnel campaigns versus lower funnel. Like we've just talked through high level metrics, but we'll leave that one for another episode. So we'll have you back soon, Matt.
sounds good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as always, we really appreciate you listening to the Ad Project podcast, and we will see you on the next episode.